we've got a little project that we really didn't intend to be a project. This is the stereo cabinet that my wife and I have had since, I believe, the late 80s. It was never really intended to be long-term furniture. It's just something we had and it did the job and we just didn't mess with it until today. I went in and was trying to raise one of the shelves up so that I could introduce a little bit more cooling element in there, keep the components running a little bit cooler. Unfortunately, while I was doing that, I came across a little problem here. Suddenly it's gone all, I believe the technical term is wonky. So, I've unloaded the cabinet. We're going to be taking a closer look at just exactly what the problem is, and hopefully we can fix it and not have to go out and buy a new one, because I'm just not up for that. Besides, it has such sentimental value. For starters, we're going to lay this puppy on its side very, very carefully. I told you, it's pretty much an antique, so, oh my. Let's see how that goes. I think we found the problem here. Basically, this shelf, this bottom base shelf here, is attached to the sides with a couple of dowels, and then there's a little metal rod that goes through here, and these little screw cams lock onto those. What's happened is some of the particle board, I told you this wasn't good furniture, some of the particle board right here has completely cracked off, just completely come off here, and has revealed the cam lock, the shaft that it goes into, and the two dowels. We'll also see some cracks back here where the flexing that you saw earlier is starting to destabilize this part as well. So on the surface, it looks like the structural damage is bad. One of the things I've learned is that trying to repair fiberboard like this, not such a great idea. Sometimes you can get it to hold together, but even if you slop enough glue in there or epoxy or something hard that's going to hold it, chances are the crumbling's already started. The structure of the wood composite has started to break down. Things have already started to get a little crumbly, like we saw back here. So what we're going to have to do is find a way to shore this up without trying to make that repair. So here's what I'm thinking. The wheels support the weight of the structure. So that's pushing this plate, this base plate, up, which is what caused it to break loose and pop that little piece out. If we can find a way to support the plate from above, from up in here, such that it can't push up any farther, we just might be okay. Okay, so we're down here in the workshop. One of the things that most people know about me is I'm a big pack rat. I save all kinds of stuff. This bin right here, nothing but scraps of brackets and structural braces and such. What I'm trying to do is find out if there's something down here I can use to fix that stereo cabinet up in the den. So I rummaged around the box here and I think I've come up with a few possibilities that just might get the job done. This first one is probably going to be too big for the job. It's a pretty decent sized bracket. It's the kind of thing you would use on a fence. This one's also a little bit on the large side. You see we got about 1.5 inches there on each side. Plus, it just seems a little bit like it's too much of a spot effort for what we're going to be looking at. This little puppy, I think that's going to get the job done. And luckily, I do have 2 of them. So one in the front, one in the back. I think these will get the job done. These are going to go on the inside of the cabinet, bracing up the bottom plate against the side from the inside. Of course, the inside of that cabinet, and pretty much the whole cabinet, is painted black. So these little puppies right here, although they're going to get the job done, they're going to be ugly as homemade sin. So we're going to spray paint them black, and then you'll hardly be able to notice them. Okay, so we've got our brackets painted black. They've dried nicely now. Now we're ready to install them. Okay, you may have noticed that I didn't paint any screw heads to match the brackets. That's because, once again, pack rat to the rescue. Every time I put together one of these modular pieces of furniture, there's usually parts left over. They try to give you spares in case you drop one down the heating vent or something. So anyway, every time I have some of these spare parts, I throw them into a little container in case I ever need them.
Voila! Perfect black panhead screws just made for this kind of furniture. Not too long, won't poke through the pieces of wood. What more could you ask?
So, take our bracket, press it into place, mark the screw holes. Okay, I'm ready to drill some pilot holes for my nifty neato screws that I found. MDF is a kind of material that's going to crumble pretty easily, so it's really important that you drill some pilot holes for your screws. If you try to just drive them in, you're just going to create a crumbly mess, and your screws won't be secure. Notice that I put a little piece of red tape here on my drill bit to warn me not to go too deep. Alrighty, now we're ready to stand this puppy up and see how well our repair worked. Not too shabby. Okay, all that's left to do is to put the shelves back in, load up all of my gear, put the glass door back on, roll it back into place. The best part of this project was I didn't have to make any trips to the hardware store. All the materials that I used were downstairs in the workshop. Always a good thing.